Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Live, local, social. It's time for the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show. On cable, on the web, and all over social media. Featuring stories from close to home, starring people like you. Live from Greater West Bloomfield, it's the Splash Live.
Welcome, friends and neighbors, to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us. We begin in West Bloomfield Township, where late last week, a testament to the resilience and the power of community brought a congregation rattled by violence closer than ever before. Just over 24 hours following an attack on their congregation, on Friday, Temple Israel held their weekly Shabbat service. Different than planned, both in location and subject matter, this Shabbos featured a renewed sense of gratitude. Grateful to be with each other, to have the loving hands of the community reached out to them, and for the safety of all who call Temple Israel home.
Tonight in this setting, what I am feeling is overwhelming gratitude for our Temple Israel community, for our Metro Detroit community, for everyone who has stood up and supported us in the last 36 hours. Thank you.
On this Shabbat, we will say Birkat HaGomel because we survived an attack on our beloved congregation. Every staff member, security officer, and teacher survived. Every parent was reunited with their child. Everyone went home with their family. We survived.
On a night where there was so much to be thankful for, Temple Israel's congregants and clergy turned first and foremost to those who were willing to risk everything when crisis called, thanking its heroes with their whole heart and thanking them by name.
Steve Booth, Eric Nelson, Chris Swart, Scott McKee, Tom Ellis, Brad Lackey, Dave McNeely, those who were in our building yesterday, our Director of Security, Danny Phillips, Scott Woodley, Randy Johnson, Bob LaCouf, who is here tonight, Sheriff Bouchard, and for those of you who've seen the images, the scores of local and regional law enforcement agents who made their way to save us. To all of you, you are our angels.
Temple Israel's congregation was together again, one day after its worst day, a day where many of its own were at their very best when those most vulnerable needed them.
I am so incredibly proud of our teachers. In recent months, we all have undergone security training, and not a single teacher froze in face of this crisis. They did exactly what they had been trained to do.
They smiled and they laughed as they schlepped a bunch of babies wrapped in blankets through hundreds of police cars so that the kids weren't scared. Our teachers are magnificent. They are heroes. They love our children because our children are their children too. And because of their quick and decisive action, their courage and their strength, every single baby, every single one, was wrapped in their parents' arms by the end of this terrible day.
The reality was not lost on Rabbi Paul Yedwab. Temple Israel would not be at their home for quite a while. However, with neighbors like Shenandoah Country Club, which provided safekeeping and hospitality in Temple Israel's darkest hour, home would not be too far away.
Like this, Shenandoah opened itself to Temple Israel to be the command center, to be our shelter. We realized that our sanctuary, which I'll talk about later, was not able to be used. And we began to think about tonight. And Maya said to me, well, why don't we have it here? And I went over to Hassan, and he said, of course. And I said, well, we're going to pay you for it. And he said, no. And I knew at that point, and when I mentioned it to my colleagues, we all knew that this was the only place that this service could be tonight.
From Thursday onward, an outpouring of love wrapped Temple Israel in its arms from around the Greater West Bloomfield community and the world. For Rabbi Marla Hornston and cantorial soloist Emma Trivax, that was the driving message of the moment. Love is the shield that will protect their congregation and community.
So many people care about us. And it's not just because we experienced an act of terror, but because of who we are. We are resilient, and we are connected to each other in ways I can't even begin to describe.
Our love has always won. We've never hardened to hate. There aren't easy words we can give to you to put us back together, but we're puzzles made up of brand new pieces now. So hug your loved one a little tighter tonight. Be kind to yourself when you can't make sense of things.
Just one day after an attack shook their community to its core, Temple Israel persevered by channeling their gratitude, the spirit and the bravery of their heroes, the generosity of neighbors and strangers turned friends for life, and through love for one another.
What you have proven to us is that our sanctuary is not a building. Our Mishkan is not made of wood and bricks. It's you.
We are not okay, but we will be. And we will be because here tonight, I'm here with you. I see our ECC teachers here. I see our ECC parents. I see our children dancing and squealing in the aisles and on the sides. And I know that we will be okay. At some point, we will be okay.
Beautiful moments at Shenandoah Country Club on Friday as Temple Israel congregated for their Shabbat services. You can see that in full, so many more beautiful moments on their YouTube page. Highly recommend. Search Temple Israel MI on YouTube for the full service from Friday evening. Also on Friday evening, members of Temple Israel and other Jewish congregations in the local area joined together in prayer and care alongside the Friendship Circle. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff has the story.
The Jewish community of West Bloomfield is still recovering from the tumultuous attack on Temple Israel that took place recently. But that has not stopped the community from taking part in their weekly Jewish observances, one of which being Shabbat, the weekly day of rest in the Jewish community. And just recently, the Friendship Circle of West Bloomfield welcomed several of their community members to the Mir Center for another wonderful celebration of Shabbat, proving that staying true to your faith and being surrounded by a strong community will help get you through anything.
It is very important that we came tonight and not exclude ourselves and remember that we are Jews all together. And this kind of activity that took place isn't just horrible as to Jews, it's horrible as to any group. We must continue to stick with each other and support each other through thick and thin.
I see people that are confident and happy to be part of the Jewish community, and even though we have some people that wish us ill, we embrace love and light and try to bring kindness to the whole community.
And what does this say about the Jewish community of Greater West Bloomfield, what they stand for, and how they respond to times like this?
Resilient, loving, and proud. That's what we are.
I mean, we were so upset about what happened and anxious, and we had to have meetings this morning about it to let some of those feelings go. And so it's very, very important. And seeing the security guard here and in the area is very important too. Friendship Circle has a walk every year, and I just hope that this year, instead of whatever their number is, I hope it doubles. I hope there's more people that come out and more people that let everyone know we are not going anywhere. We are going to be here.
It was a powerful celebration of faith, friendship, and so much more. Even in our darkest times, West Bloomfield remains strong and united to the core values that make this community what it truly is. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
As mentioned there, the Walk for Friendship that happens every summer at the Friendship Circle. It takes place beginning at the Farber Soul Center, right at the corner of Walnut Lake and Drake Roads in West Bloomfield, a place where so many people gathered for information on Thursday during those times of uncertainty this summer. You can definitely expect it'll be a place of great love and celebration, especially given what our community has been through in the days just past. Over the weekend, Temple Israel provided the first updates as well to its congregation on the future of its programs, services, building, and sanctuary, posting this message on social media stating, quote, "First, on behalf of the clergy, leadership, and staff of Temple Israel, thank you. The outpouring of love, of support, of offers to help, and of solidarity, we feel all of that from you in this very difficult time," end quote. The post continued saying, quote, "Sadly, because of the extent of the damage done to our building, it will be closed to us for the immediate future," end quote. Temple Israel stated in the post that it is looking for a temporary office location and will answer the community's many calls to volunteer with opportunities in the future once their needs become more clear as recovery efforts begin this week and they make those initial assessments. Additionally, a donation drive to support recovery efforts is underway. Temple Israel says donations can be made on their website, temple-israel.org, or by emailing Cassie Cohen from their team. That is ccohen@temple-israel.org. One more time, the website, temple-israel.org, to make those donations. Recognizing local heroes close to home in Keego Harbor, Chief Robert Barnes posting on the Keego Harbor Police Department's Facebook page the praises of Officer James Dennis and Detective Kevin Oliver, both of whom sprung into action last Thursday as among the hundreds of local law enforcement who ran into danger to protect Greater West Bloomfield. Chief Barnes wrote on the Facebook page, quote, "After linking up with West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake police partners, they all went into the building and started to clear rooms and secure the area. We should all be so proud of the assisting agencies and responders," end quote. It's just among the praises of Officer Dennis and Detective Oliver and so many other first responders from Greater West Bloomfield, from Oakland County, and across southeastern Michigan, as well as those from the Michigan State Police and the FBI, who provided support to our local law enforcement and local first responders in a very complicated rescue on Thursday in the wake of the attack on Temple Israel. You can see the full post and give Officer Dennis and Detective Oliver your own thank yous on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Keego Police. One more time, facebook.com/Keego Police. In the wake of last Thursday's attack on Temple Israel, first responders close to home have been receiving their due gratitude for bravery and service that they displayed on Thursday during the wake of that attack. That includes those closest to the situation in the West Bloomfield Police Department, whose training and quick action helped all 106 children, as well as many staff and teachers, escape the building during the initial attack and as fires broke out afterward. Joining us with more insight from the West Bloomfield Police Department is Deputy Police Chief Stephen Richter. Deputy Chief, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. I know it's a busy time and a difficult time for your officers, first and foremost. So much that our community went through on that day and in the hours and days afterward. That includes our first responders. How are your officers holding up in the days past?
They're doing good. We had a lot of officers respond to the scene. We had over 31 officers that were inside and had some various levels of exposure. 17 of our officers were treated at the hospital. And then plus just everybody else that was helping out on the periphery. It was pretty surreal. And we've been talking through it, and the response and the outpouring has been good.
And we talk so often, especially when we think about our fire department, that our fire department doesn't respond to a whole lot of fires in the community. We have that also sort of be the case for the police department. Some of the more intense scenes that we see in many other communities across Michigan and across the country are not necessarily commonplace for our police department. That being said, very well prepared, and they sprung into action and did great work on Thursday. But seeing that in a community that is so close-knit, where our police officers value community policing, getting to know their community can be very difficult and be traumatizing even for our officers. There's been so much said about the support services available to the community after this attack last Thursday. What supports may be in place for our police officers and other first responders if they're in need of somebody to talk to at this time?
Sure, those are good things. So our department has a peer support team that has been in contact through West Bloomfield Township. We also have support there as well. On Saturday, our peer support team held a meeting at the West Bloomfield High School, and we opened that up to any first responder, not just our own, that was present at the scene on Thursday. That was a good turnout, and that helped. Going forward, it's going to be more of just the constant contact, talking with our people, making sure that they know they can reach out, and if it's not to us, one of the other places that they can get help. But that's the key, is just talking through it. And briefly, just to touch on what you said, for us, this did hit home. Temple Israel is one of those places where there's a lot of officers that work off duty, that know the people there personally, just because of the things that have happened in the community, just our close relationship that we work with all of our house of worship. So for some of them, it did drive it home, because these weren't just random faces. I mean, these were our friends, and we knew many of them by name.
How do you believe that this unfortunate situation, something that any community would never hope happens to them, and certainly is not something you take any joy out of whatsoever, how do you hope that this will bring our community closer to our first responders?
Well, I think you've already seen some of that. I mean, we've always been lucky in West Bloomfield, and we've always had the support of the community. But just the day of, Shenandoah Country Club right across the street, they opened up the doors for the evacuees, and they helped to feed the children, and they kept everybody safe while we were working on reunification. And then the very next night, Temple Israel was able to host their services from Shenandoah. But West Bloomfield has always been a great community for support and coming together. And we demonstrated that again here over the weekend with this horrific attack. Nobody said, everybody asked, what can I do? And to the point of where, unfortunately, we love it, but sometimes we do have to tell people, well, thank you, and we'll get back to you. But right now, I mean, there's just so much that we can only take so much help. But that's just one of the benefits of working in a place like West Bloomfield, where everyone gets along, regardless of your race or your religion and stuff like that.
Deputy Police Chief Stephen Richter is with us from the West Bloomfield Police Department. More updates on public safety from them can be found on their Facebook page at West Bloomfield PD. Deputy Chief, so much has been said in the days past, especially on Thursday, about how much training played in to the ultimately safe outcome with all 106 children, all 140 plus people in the building at Temple Israel on that day, making their way out safely at the end of that crisis. How much of a factor did that training play into your officers' ability to snap into action, and plus with that familiarity of the area, be able to get there, know where to go, and get people out safe?
Well, no doubt about it. It's the training that allowed us to act, right? That's why we train. So when these things happen, we don't have to think about what to do. We just do. And that goes for like everybody, starting with Temple Israel's own security staff, comes to us and all the other departments that came to help us. Like I'm sure you've heard or has been reporting elsewhere, there was over 600 officers from 42 agencies that came to assist us. And unfortunately, in our line of work, we hope that we never have to use it, but we constantly train, because when we do need to use it, it'd be too late if we didn't practice. So, I mean, we constantly train here in West Bloomfield and in other departments across Michigan. Unfortunately, it's part of the norm that we have to, because it's not nowadays. It doesn't seem if it's a question of will something like this happen. It's just a question of when, and unfortunately, we are in our when right now.
And you never want anybody to live in fear, but that is certainly the reality of our days. You just never know, and it's better to know what to do if that situation ever comes up. Certainly played a major role in getting everybody out of Temple Israel safely last week, Thursday. On that point, not wanting people to live necessarily in fear, but live with preparation and know what to do. What sort of opportunities are available to the community, either with consultation from the police department to other partners or directly with the police department, if businesses, if neighborhoods, and so on want to undergo some training to put themselves in the safest position possible in the future?
Well, sure. Some of that stuff we do work with our partners. There are times that we offer ALICE training. That would be something that you could just reach out and ask. We don't have a set schedule, but we have been doing that for a while. And again, going back to it's just preparing in yourselves. Like I said, that could be seen from Temple Israel. So again, I mentioned before their security staff, but it was more than that, right? It's their teachers. It was the people in the offices, right? They train. They train on this on a regular basis for these reasons. And that's what most people, unfortunately need to think about is nobody wants to do it, but it's just one of those things that it is a necessity because when something does happen and everybody knows how to act, what role they play, and then you can hope for good outcomes. And this was the best outcome that you could have. All of the teachers and the staff were able to gather up the children, and with the assistance of the law enforcement officers, we were able to get them off campus into a safe place, and that came from training.
And lastly, Sheriff Bouchard mentioned this in some of the press conferences, that getting that insight from the people in the community when something suspicious is visible to them or when something out of the ordinary happens, like somebody running a vehicle into a building, that's something that you want to alert local authorities to as soon as possible. Time is always of the essence. But there's always that if you see something, say something element that we hear so often. What should people be looking for? Not necessarily being on high alert all the time, but what are some of those oddities that may be worth pointing out to our local police departments that could potentially save lives?
Well, so the reason we keep harping on this see something, say something is nobody knows their place where they live, their community, their business better than the people that are there. They're there on a daily basis. So basically an oddity or anything like that is just something that's not normal, right? I mean, usually if something's not right, whether, hey, I've never seen that person before, I've never seen that vehicle before, this is an odd time for whatever it is to be happening. That's why we rely so heavily on the community, because as police officers, we're stretched thin. I mean, we're coming out and we try to pay attention, but we don't know what vehicle is supposed to be where. That is what you do. And we really don't care. If you see something and you have a question, give us a call. I mean, the worst case scenario is we go out and we check it and the person's supposed to be there or the vehicle is supposed to be there. And then it puts you at ease and it puts us at ease. But if you don't call us, we won't know about those things.
And it's all good advice, and it all played a big role in keeping our community safe during its darkest hour last week, Thursday. Deputy Chief Richter, I want to thank you for your time. I know it's very busy in West Bloomfield at this time for our first responders, for our police department as this investigation goes on. I want to extend our community's thank you once again to you and all of your officers. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You can give them your thanks directly and follow the West Bloomfield Police Department for more local public safety information. Visit them on Facebook at West Bloomfield PD. That's facebook.com/West Bloomfield PD. Across the street from Temple Israel last week, it was perhaps Shenandoah Country Club that put the local Chaldean community in the global spotlight for its generosity and kindness in the wake of terror, and in the process, strengthened bonds across cultures close to home. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff has more.
Right here in West Bloomfield, the community is continuing to recover from the terrifying attack that occurred at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield recently. One of the biggest takeaways is that the community is united, especially in times of distress like this one. And we've especially seen that from both the Jewish community and the Chaldean community as they have come out to support their neighbors. West Bloomfield Township trustee Jim Manna spoke with us recently about his initial reaction to this terrifying attack.
I'm heartbroken. very, very sad for me. I thank God we didn't have any loss of life in the community. I know the shooter, or this terrorist, or whatever he is dead. I'm glad, and thank God we didn't have any children hurt. And I'm so proud of my community for the support, and for Shenandoah, our country club, our private country club that came out and welcomed a lot of the parents, a lot of the children that were there. We had a phenomenal outpouring of police, every federal agency you can think of, and it happened the way it all happened. And I got news of it as it was happening from our police department. And it really, really shakes you up. And again, I'm so thankful. I thank God that nobody in none of our Jewish brothers and sisters were hurt or killed, anything like that. I mean, it's horrible. It's something you'll never forget.
In the time since this devastating attack, the Chaldean community of West Bloomfield has been coming out in troves of support of the Jewish community and helping them through this time of crisis.
Our Jewish brothers and sisters, they're our family. We share so much of the same culture. We come from the same part of the world. We've both been prosecuted and persecuted and criticized and everything else. So we're all over the world. We're just first all over the world from our homeland in the Middle East, just like our Jewish brothers and sisters are. So we have so much in common, and we support each other, we love each other, and we'll protect each other, absolutely, forever and ever.
Larry Miller, a 70-year member of Temple Israel and a member of their own board of trustees, spoke with me about seeing the response from the Chaldean community and how it's warmed his heart.
It says that we all love each other. It says that we can live together in peace and calm. We can be brothers, we can be sisters, and we can pray across the street from one another. It doesn't make a difference that we're two different religions, but we're human beings who love each other, and we can show the world that we can live together.
No matter our differences, it is important to remain united as the entire community is coming out to support Temple Israel, the Jewish community, and everybody here in West Bloomfield. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
One of the more powerful messages that's come out of this horrific event that happened in West Bloomfield last week has been that unity between religious groups right across the street from each other, quite literally reaching a hand out to help a neighbor. And that has been so profound. It has reached global proportions in terms of how many people have seen that message and taken that to heart. Hopefully, that leads to a better world in the days ahead. The attack on Temple Israel had a unique effect on elected leaders in West Bloomfield Township, some of whom are members of the congregation at Temple Israel themselves. That includes Supervisor Jonathan Warshay, who spoke with our team's Jake Schaff on Friday about the attack, the response, and the outpouring of support for West Bloomfield in the aftermath of what happened at Temple Israel. We now are joined by Jake Schaff live at the West Bloomfield Civic Center. Jake, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course, thank you, Tyler. And yes, everywhere you look, people are still trying to process the terrifying attacks of what just happened at Temple Israel recently here in West Bloomfield. And as you said, elected officials are also sharing their thoughts on everything. And Jonathan Warshay, it's a very interesting case with him because he is a longtime member of Temple Israel. He's been there for several years and has a very deep connection with the synagogue. I spoke with him not too long ago to get his thoughts on the matter and what he's seen from the neighboring communities as all of this has taken place.
So first of all, the response from public safety was incredible. Training certainly pays off on that, how they responded. So that would be my first thing. And then second thing would be the outpouring of support from the community. Shenandoah Country Club, what they did to house the community center, command center, as well as helping to reunite parents with their preschoolers from the Temple Israel school was genuinely a wonderful thing. They're a wonderful community partner. And Soul Cafe, providing food for people without even asking. I've been getting calls from all sorts of officials, colleagues, friends, just asking how things are and offering their support and solidarity. So from that aspect, it's been a good thing.
And I'd imagine it's definitely been a lot. I mean, we're getting all of this support from our neighboring cities like Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and cities all throughout Michigan, all coming to West Bloomfield's aid. I mean, what does that mean?
It really means a lot. As municipalities, we want to support each other, and we really appreciate their support. And I should add, the support from the FBI, from the county, from the state has been excellent as well. So we really appreciate their partnership.
Talk a little bit more about the call to action in terms of a situation like this. Everything you saw from our first responders, from West Bloomfield and all throughout the community. I mean, what does it say about just the emphasis on safety right now and just the work that everyone has been doing?
So they work a lot on training and how to respond in a situation like this. And it's clear that the training paid off, that our first responders were able to take action appropriately, efficiently, timely to address the situation.
Now talk to me a little bit about Temple Israel, because you have some personal connections to Temple Israel, and I know that obviously this hits a little more close to home with this.
Sure, my wife and I are members there. One of the rabbis married us, so it does mean a lot to us what's happened there. We certainly understand the feelings that people are experiencing right now, the members and the families that attend.
In terms of what West Bloomfield can do now that this has passed and we're looking to carry on after something like this, what would you advise to the people of Temple Israel and to the people of Greater West Bloomfield?
Well, you certainly need to look at the situation to help guard against bad actors. That's something that the township is doing actively. It's something we encourage all of our members of our community to do that as well, even in your home. And really just to be alert to your surroundings. If something is off, let the police know. It may be nothing, but it may be something that they avoid because you made the call. So please keep your eyes open. We want to keep all of our residents and employees safe, everyone who comes to the township. We strive to work on that, and it seems to be paying off. Can never be enough emphasis placed on that. We will always do that. We're here to support everyone, and we really appreciate the support of the community.
Strong words from the township as we continue to process everything that happened at Temple Israel recently and as we continue to move forward, Tyler.
Yeah, it's a strong message from the supervisor. We've seen so many of that from the connections that were made in the community last week, Jake. You've heard a lot of those stories. We've heard a lot of those stories. They'll continue to be present in our community in the days ahead. Appreciate your hard work and your coverage.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tyler.
Jake Schaff live at Town Hall in West Bloomfield as our coverage continues in the wake of the attack at Temple Israel. Next door at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, more shows of compassion as the library posted a video welcoming those affected by Thursday's attack across the community to its branches for a getaway, relaxation, and comfort in times of trauma and uncertainty. We'll play a bit of that video for you. Fulfilling their promise, a welcoming environment for learning and reflection at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Just some of the message provided by the library as they welcome people back into their doors. They were locked down for several hours on the day of the attack and had some differing hours in the days afterward, but now back to regular operations and want to make sure it's a place of comfort. At their main library, places like their relaxation room, definitely expecting a little bit more foot traffic in the days ahead. A great place to go for some quiet time, for some reflection, to get away from the stresses of the world for just a few minutes and do so right here in our home. See the full video and keep up to date with the library's programs and events on Facebook at West Bloom LIB. Following the events of last week, many in the community began the long and varied process of coping with the act of heinous violence that hit their hometown, many of whom will balance their own grief and processing with helping their children and families through it as well. I spoke to therapist Carrie Craywick from the Birmingham Maple Clinic for helpful advice and insight as people begin this process. Carrie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on in a difficult time, and especially with your expertise in family therapy in particular. This can be a really difficult conversation, in particular for parents to have with their kids, especially when it happens in your community. So it's a very big question. It's a loaded question. Where should parents perhaps start in having those conversations with their kids?
I actually love the way you recognize this, because I think one of the first things is, of course, parents need to take care of themselves. You hear it all the time, but like, when you're in the airplane, when the mask comes down, you have to put it on yourself before you help anyone else. And so it is so important for parents to find ways to regulate themselves before they start touching base with their kids, even if they're experiencing their kids in a high degree of need. For kids, depending on their age, it's so important to ask them what they know and what they've heard. Before you interject any new information, try to sift through what they've heard and what they think they know, and try to make sense of that. And then as you can clarify what's real and what's not real, then there's like an opportunity to move forward after that.
There may be a little bit of irony, unfortunately, in me asking this, but there's so much coverage of this that you'll get from in your community, so much you'll get from the local, state, national media, a lot of speculation. What's your advice in terms of people navigating that, keeping in the know, knowing what's going on, especially when it's happened close to home in their community, without overwhelming themselves with information that's quite sad?
Sure. I mean, and what a great question. So like in one part, like we are all designed to connect with each other during periods of stress. And I think just talking to my colleagues that are of the Jewish faith and stuff, I mean, they're answering tons of text messages, tons of phone calls from their clients, from their friends. So there's this desire to connect. And there's a desire to like reach out to media for also that connection. And so connecting during one of these stressful opportunities is good, but there does also need to be an opportunity for rest. We need stress and rest. So there does need to be a time where we take a pause or a break and say, hey, look, we are going to shut off the phones for the night, or we're going to turn off the TV for the night. And we need to like kind of cleanse like those moments, because there are times to dig in and then there are times to like reprieve. And so we need both stress and rest, and we cannot sustain stress. So you do need to book in periods of rest.
What was quite profound in the wake of what happened on Thursday at Temple Israel was the immediate support that came out from the community. We think especially about those right across the street at Shenandoah Country Club, predominantly a Chaldean entity where it houses the Chaldean Community Center. It's those of a different faith. They're mostly Iraqi Christians, and they provided immediate housing, immediate support. They fed children. So many stories of that already on social media. In the immediate wake of something as harrowing and as heinous happening right here in your community, psychologically, what does that immediate support from your friends, from your neighbors, from complete strangers mean to people that experienced that firsthand?
Connecting is good for both the giver and the receiver. So like during periods of stress, the stress hormones, the oxytocin, the just oxygen flow through the body. So even from a physiological standpoint, connecting during periods of stress is both good for the giver and the receiver. So, I mean, it was so amazing, right? Like to see the community, and even the desire. There were people who desired, some went to the scene to, get their children or whatever, and some just went to the scene to connect. And although that can interfere, it's also so important to know that like making connections, physical connections, whether it's gentle physical touch, whether it's, hey, I'm thinking about you, I saw this thing and it reminded me of you. Connections are stress relieving. And so like during a period of stress, it's important to acknowledge that making connections are good for all of us.
Carrie Krawick is joining us, a licensed family therapist from the Birmingham Maple Clinic on today's edition of the Splash Live as we get the community's reaction in the wake of the attack Thursday at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield Township. Carrie, you mentioned so much about connecting in the aftermath. Good for those that are reaching out and good for those that are being reached out to. So many people want to provide that support, especially to those at Temple Israel, to those in the local Jewish community, so heavily and directly affected by this act of violence in our community. But there is right and wrong ways to go about that in a way that's sensitive, that's empathetic, that's providing support without overwhelming those directly traumatized. How do you balance that?
Right. I mean, I think part of it is acknowledging your own insensitivity, you know, and to say, like, I'm doing my best, like I'm feeling compelled to do something or say something, but I'm not certain it's the right thing or the right time. I mean, I think offering yourself that little asterisk and offering that to a person, kind of taking a bird's eye view and, like, you know, you might want to say something and just say it, you know, impulsively. But if you could, like, kind of take an inventory of, well, here's what I want to say, and here are all of my guesses how it might be received, and then presenting that as almost like little hodgepodge of, like, here's really what is going on in my heart, and this is how it's coming out of my mouth. But if it's not right, please correct me, please tell me, please help me help you better.
And there are some subtle ways too that people can simply just reach out and be like, look, maybe I don't know how you're feeling in this moment. If you're willing to immediately have me speak to you about this, or if I just want to say I'm a listening ear, what are some subtle ways you can present that to somebody maybe in the Temple Israel community or others that may be mourning what happened here in West Bloomfield?
I think it's exactly like what you said. I think it's saying, like, I want to be a safe person to you, and I may be an imperfectly safe person to you, but, like, please allow me to be that. And if you need me, I'm here for you. If you need me to, care for you in some kind of way, like, I'm ready and available. And, like, I just think, like you said, is offering that, like, it won't be perfect, and sometimes well-meaning gestures get misread or misunderstood. So just being able to sort of, like, see, like, outside of yourself, this is what I want to do, but this is how it might come across, and present both of those to the other party, and then let them choose. And if they say, look, I'm good, I'm overwhelmed, I've talked enough, I've heard enough, I've seen enough, then respect it.
If you want to reach out to Carrie and the team at the Birmingham Maple Clinic, their website, birminghammaple.com, as we discuss how to begin coping with what happened in West Bloomfield Township for those directly affected by the attack at Temple Israel. Carrie, for those that are directly affected, they're going to cope at a number of different speeds in a number of different ways. It is important, as you mentioned, to be able to reach out, to have those open avenues, but to do it at your own speed. What's your advice for those young, old, across all ages and all sectors of our community to perhaps get back out slowly and reach out to their community for that connection that you mentioned can be so important in times like this?
Sure. Don't assume that it's going to look any certain way. I mean, even my own children are students in Bloomfield, so they were in lockdown yesterday. And although they're not of the Jewish faith, they did experience the lockdown. So, like, they were different last night. One was exceptionally tired. One was exceptionally hyper. So, I mean, I think for parents, it's not so much thinking that your kid's going to be a certain way. It's sort of being ready for any way that they are. And one of the things we want to see is that it dissipate over time. So, of course, today you might have a lot of questions or a lot of agitation or a lot of nerves. But what we'd like to see is it incrementally gets smaller the days as we move away from this. And if you're seeing that intensity stay the same, that would certainly be an opportunity to have an evaluation by a therapist or psychologist or someone to say, hey, like, we would just, after any kind of event, we would like to see it trickle towards normalcy. And if it's not, then it definitely needs to be revisited by a professional.
And normalcy is going to look different for everybody directly involved that may have been there on site, had family members there on site, have connections to our community, both here in West Bloomfield Township, throughout the state of Michigan, and all across the globe with connections close to home. Carrie, I want to thank you very much for joining us and for providing this advice that is very much in need for many in our community today.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody copes differently, and good advice from Carrie and the team at the Birmingham Maple Clinic, as people will process this at different speeds and in different ways, and we can always be helpful to each other through that process. All over the world this past weekend, words of support pouring into West Bloomfield from across the globe, including from neighbors close to home right here in Greater West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV's Jonathan Montgomery spoke to local residents to hear their kind words for Temple Israel.
Times like these, it's very important that people in this community support each other. Here are just some of the encouraging things that West Bloomfield residents had to share.
It's a heartbreaking situation, but I send my love and my prayers. It's my Temple community. I send my love and my prayers to the clergy, to the staff, to anybody affiliated with Temple. It's just a hard day, and sending my love and prayers.
All our friends at Temple Israel and throughout the community to know that at the West Bloomfield Library, we support you, we value you, we cherish you, and we're here for you. Please come in. We have lots of great programs. We have books. We have DVDs. We have anything. So if you need to get away from things for a while, we are here for you. If you want to be with other people, we are here for you. We support you. We love you. And we want to help. So please don't hesitate to let us know what we can do for you. West Bloomfield is strong, West Bloomfield is resilient, West Bloomfield is home, and we are all in this together.
The community members, I want to encourage our people so that they can know that we are all together. We are all the same family. We care for you, the ones who lost their families. We care for you. We really are here to support you, and we are praying for you. We are praying for the families. I'm a doctor in nurse practice, and I practice in Detroit with Team Wellness. We do counseling. Please come. If you need some counseling, you can come. We can help you, because we are all one community.
Situations like these aren't easy on anybody. That's why it's important for people in this community to support each other, to show love to each other as we get through these hard times together. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jonathan Montgomery.
Kindness and compassion, something we all need more of these days. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate the report. This weekend, Greater West Bloomfield's top creatives will pack the West Bloomfield Main Library to help you find the perfect book that's produced right here by people close to home. At the West Bloomfield Library's third annual local author fair, we are joined now by one of those authors you'll see this weekend, Larry Katz, right here on the Splash Live. Mr. Katz, thanks for joining us.
A pleasure. Please call me Larry.
I will do that. Thank you, Larry. Thanks for coming on the show. We're excited to have a bunch of our local authors at the main library this weekend to celebrate creativity. And we know West Bloomfield loves to read. How exciting is it for you as an author to have some of your original works be on display close to home here in our community for local readers?
It's a lot of fun. I'm very much looking forward to it. Every time I do these kinds of events, I get to meet people. They don't need to be baseball fans, baseball history fans. Just come up, say hi, talk about anything you want. You know, there's kind of a baseball connection to everything in life. And I try to make that point in the materials that I write in my books and my various articles. Baseball history is people, it's Americana, it's pretty much everything. So you come on in, let's talk, let's have some fun, because that's what it's about. It's fun. It's not that deep, it's not that heavy. I try to do some stuff that connects to viscerally to things that people can relate to. But even if they can't, just come by and let's talk and let's enjoy the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, so much of baseball history, like with any other sport, is somewhat of a landmark in history for our communities. And so as you bring your works to the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, you mentioned baseball being a big part of that. Tell us a little bit about the piece that you're going to be presenting at the local author fair.
Well, this is a story of baseball before World War II. It's a completely different time. Yeah. I don't know if young people could relate to the challenges, the difficulties, all of the things that people were dealing with during the Great Depression and the looming World War II. So the people were struggling financially. They were worried. There was a lot of fear. Baseball presented an opportunity for people to connect. It's a continuation of American life, which never ceased, even throughout the entire World War II. The game continued on. Unlike actually recently in the last few years where we've had strikes, and probably, unfortunately, we're going to have a lockdown soon. But during the period of time that I wrote about, and the book is called Baseball in 1939, the Watershed Season of the National Pastime. But my intention in writing the book was to bring together the past and then show how the future might look in light of the experiences that people were going through during this period of time, the pre-war era.
Larry, what's so compelling about the local author fair, and has been the first 2 years that's been hosted by the West Bloomfield Library, is not only getting to see these stories that are made by creatives in our community here in West Bloomfield and in neighboring areas, but to learn the journey of some of our local creatives into writing, some people who never thought they'd be a writer at all. What did your journey look like?
Well, my journey started a long time ago. In 1989, that was my first foray into publishing. Prior to that, I guess you could call me a professional writer in the sense that I did a lot of legal writing before 1989. But in '89, my article on the 50th anniversary of the Baseball Hall of Fame was published by Sports Collectors Digest. And at that point, it kind of motivated me to think, well, maybe, I can actually write a book, which I did several years later. So my journey was from legal writing to writing a periodical to eventually writing a book. And that's what I've continued to do since then. So it's been a several decade journey to where we are today.
Larry Katz joins us on the Splash Live. He'll be one of many local authors at the 3rd Annual Local Author Fair happening Sunday, March 22nd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the main library in the West Bloomfield Civic Center on Walnut Lake Road. Larry, this is a great event because it brings together authors that maybe aren't necessarily on the national scale. They're not New York Times bestsellers yet, but they could very well be there very soon, and allows people to have that interaction directly with people who are telling these stories. How does that excite you as a writer and maybe inspire you for some of your next works coming in the years ahead?
Yeah, it's exciting for people in the community to understand that all the writers aren't situated in New York or Connecticut. They're here, they're around you, and this is an opportunity for people to experience the relationship between the writer and the reader, because that relationship is essential, it's symbiotic. So for people to come in and have an opportunity to talk to people who may or may not share the same ideas, but there's no way you can come away not smiling and not having learned something about your neighbors.
Do you feel that this also helps you connect with other authors, and how maybe do those relationships help you grow as an author?
Well, we always say, we get to sit next to other nice people, and almost always their experiences are nothing like ours, other than our journey to writing. But even our journey to writing is not exactly what ours are. We get to learn from them, and we get to learn a little bit about the subject matters that they have written about. So there is a community, kind of an informal community of writers, usually sitting alongside one another. And, very often nobody comes by. We've had those experiences too. So we have each other. That's all we have, to talk to is, ourselves sometimes. But in any event, just to come and just experience a relationship between human beings. We all have something that we can share with one another that people would be interested in, and that we would be interested in hearing from them about.
And it gives people an opportunity in this particular instance to have that interface with local authors for authors to talk with other creatives and share ideas and share methods and share processes, experiences that may help them grow as an author, because as you mentioned, not everybody's in New York or Connecticut or has had a publisher take on their works or is under a contract. Many of them are first-time publishers. How does something like this from a local library in West Bloomfield help catapult authors from maybe dreaming of putting that work out or writing their first stories to making that a reality and showing them, I can actually do this?
I think it's wonderful that the West Bloomfield Library has a program like this, and I think this was their third year that they've put a program like this together. And I think it's really great for people to have an opportunity to come in and not just pick up a book and walk out, but in this instance, to be able to come in, talk to the author, and then hopefully pick up a book and have something to read after their experience here locally. So the fact that the library is putting this out, you know, they offer books, they offer research opportunities and various other things. But this is really something special when you have some authors come in and make themselves available and open themselves up to the local community. What could be bad? You know, this is an event where only good can come. And then that's why I support it so much. And I'm so happy that I've been asked to appear.
Yeah, we're going to have lots of really friendly people there that are looking to share their creativity, share their stories, and so many people in our community that are enthusiastic about our library and about reading right here close to home in West Bloomfield. His book is Baseball in 1939, the watershed season of the national pastime. He'll be one of many authors at the local author fair happening on Sunday, March 22nd. Larry, anything else you'd like to say before we see you this weekend?
I would just say, come on in. You don't have to buy a book. Just come on in, say hi. We can talk about baseball or we can talk about whatever you want. I know it's going to be fun. No, I don't just want to sit there by myself. I want people to come in. Just come in and say hi. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm so happy and grateful that you had me on here today.
Always a pleasure speaking to our local authors and promoting what's going on over at our library. Larry, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
More information on the West Bloomfield Library's local author fair, the third annual happening this weekend, can be found on WBLIB.org or follow them both on Facebook and on Instagram, where their handles are at WestBloomLIB. We leave you today with a fond farewell to one of West Bloomfield's finest community servants. Longtime West Bloomfield Library Board Ken Macon passed away this weekend. Ken served several terms on the library board, including 3 as board president and 4 as treasurer. In 2025, Macon was awarded the Jeff Lieb Lifetime Leadership Award at the Michigan Week Community Awards breakfast, noting his 16 years on the library board and countless other volunteer efforts as well. Ken Macon served our nation in Vietnam as a commissioned Army artillery officer. According to his wife, Deborah, a cable commissioner and volunteer extraordinaire herself, Ken was, quote, battle-tested, end quote. Others, such as Library Director Kathy Russ, said Ken Macon was diligent, smart, savvy, and supportive. Ken is survived by his wife, Deborah, and his son, Ken Jr., as Deb says, quote, he lives on in our warm and joyous memories, end quote. That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always available on CivicCenterTV.com and across our social media. Big thank you to our entire crew, both in the studio and out in the field, for making the magic happen behind the scenes. And here's to you as well for being part of today's story along with us. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV.